Hello, this is an introduction to D-Lib, which is the librarian software for the D-Lev theremin, digital theremin. I'm sitting in a terminal here, looking at the files that are in the D-Lib directory. You can see that there's a D-Lib here and a D-Lib exe here that it thinks they're executable. This is a Linux box, Linux Mint actually, which is very nice. So I would execute dlib, and if you were on a Windows box, you would execute dlib.exe. You can also see here the CPP files are sitting here. So the source is all here. So if you want to recompile it yourself, or edit it and recompile it, or do anything, if anybody wants to help me targeting Apple devices, that would be nice, iOS and that sort of thing, because I don't have what it takes to do that here. So that would maybe help out some other people too. So I'm gonna well, this started out, the librarian started out as like a handful of TTL files which ran in TerraTerm, and it just kind of outgrew that, and when I moved to Mint from Windows XP, I lost TerraTerm because there's no port, I don't think. Well, anyway, it's just as well because it's more flexible this way. So let's start up dlib. Okay. So right off it shows me the version 1.15 and it shows me the open ports. Now before I started this up, I plugged in the D-Lev into a serial port on my computer, and the only open port is 0, and that's the D-Lev. So I can just hit enter here because there's no selection to do. So it's telling me that was successful. And I'm presented with the F1 screen here, which is the editor. Normally when I get into the librarian, I like to do a K to E command and then hit the space bar. What that does is it downloads all of the current knob settings on the D-Lev right now. So I can see exactly what's going on all 20 screens all at once on the D-Lev. And every time I do a K to E, it does that download. It's not a live thing. You have to initiate it with the K to E. But so let's say if I change the volume here, if I turn it down some and I do another K to E, I just hit the up arrow here, which recalls the command. You can see that the volume changed from 63 to 47. Here, I'll do it again so you can see it. I'll lower it some more. And it went from 47 to 37. So it's not live, but an accurate portrayal of the knobs when you do the K to E. So now I can move around on this screen. If I press, I'm on the F1 screen, if I press F1, it'll toggle this highlight here. And if I use the arrow keys, I can move around. If I hold down the Alt key and I use the arrows, it moves me a screen at a time. If I hit the home key, it takes me to the first one. If I hit the end, it takes me to the last one. If I hold down the control key, I can change the values. So if I'm holding down the control key and I'm hitting the up arrow, so you can see the volume increasing by 1 each time. Down arrow, it decreases by 1 each time. This is holding down the control key. If I hit the left arrow, it decreases by 10. The right arrow, it increases by 10. I can also enter values here. Say I want to make it 20 and hit enter. See, it makes it 20, but it also gets rid of the highlights, so you gotta pull it back. Frequencies are a little weirder. They don't go by 1, they go by 1/24 of an octave. So let's say I put in 1000. See, it gave me 987, so that's like a best effort for the frequency. It gets me as close as it can. If I put in 0, it gives me 27. That's as low as it gets. If I put in like million or something, it gives me 7.04 kilohertz, which is the maximum you can set a filter to. The resonator frequencies are a little different, but it's the same sort of deal. And you can also, when you're changing things in the editor here, using the highlight and the arrow keys and the control key, you're actually changing the preset as it is on the D-Lev. You're doing remote control. So you're changing the D-Lev in real time when you're changing values here in the editor. So let's see. Let's go to the next screen. The F2 screen is a file screen. So this shows us what files we have in the current directory, and we can change directories if we want to. You can see the CPP files here, the source files that I was talking about. DLP, DLP files are preset or system profile files. Bank files are just lists. It's just a text file. It's a list of preset file names in the order that you want them loaded. And then all you can see here is a directory. Oops. Now if I hit the V key, it cleans up the view, and it just shows me the relevant files for the D-Lev. If I hit the V again, it clutters the screen up. So let's change the all directory because we want to go there to see the preset files that are on all the preset files that came with your kit are in that directory. So there are many ways of kind of doing this. One is to press the F2 key again and get the highlight and use the arrow keys to go to the all. And then if you hit enter, it'll put it on the command line. If I hit another way, if I just hit escape to clear the command line. If I type _A and then I hit tab, it does an autocomplete, and it does, it completes as much as it can that's unique. So that's what I like to use. Or you could just type out all. And then CD is change directory, and then I hit space, and it took me to the all directory. And I'll hit the V to clean it up, because we only care about certain things here. So this first file is a SPI file, and that's software for your D-Lev, and we'll go over that in a bit. The next ones are bank files, which I said were just text files of voice preset file names, like abrupt, accordion, like these down here are voice preset file names. And then we've got we got 4 system profile files, and they have the same format actually as voice presets. They're 256 bytes arranged as 64 hex words, just in a text file. So you can actually read those and edit those if you wanted to. Anyway. So now that we're in the directory where we have our preset files, we can go to the F3 slots view. And we don't see anything here because we haven't downloaded any information. And we can do that by saying, let's say we want to look at all the slots. You can look at a subset, or you can look at all of them. It's up to you. And we'll do slot to list, and then hit space. And you see the dots working again. Good sign. Alright, what it did here was it matched up the preset file names, the contents of the preset files, with the contents of the slots, and it did that kind of numerically. It just, and whenever it can match something up, it gives it that name. So it knows that in -99, the line 1 preset is there, and if I turn on the highlight by pressing F3 like I just did, I can scroll around with the arrow keys and kind of see what's in all the slots. And so what's going on in slot 0? What I did was I edited slot 0. I turned on the pitch correction actually. I did the same thing for slot 1. So it doesn't really know what those are because I saved the preset on the D-Lev. It can't match it up to a file because I edited the preset on the D-Lev. So it gives me a question mark there. So, I mean, it's no big deal, but that's just the way the mechanism works. All right. So there are 2 hidden screens. If you type help space, you'll get this help screen, and it's just a text file that's in the home directory, and you can use the arrow keys or page up, page down, that sort of thing to move around in it. It lists the commands, the formats of the commands in the editor or in the librarian. It shows you what the keys do. It tells you specifics of how to use the F1, F2, and F3 screens. And then it has some typical usage examples. I find these typical usage examples easier generally to use. You just try to find the one that's close to what you want. You can usually figure it out that way rather faster than reading some vague description of a command and trying to piece it together. Okay, and then here at the end, there's some program setup information, how to compile it, how to run it in a Windows box, how to run it in a Linux box, and then a few tips at the end. So that's the help screen. If I hit escape, I leave it. You can call that up anywhere. The other hidden screen is a terminal, and if I hit term space, it takes me into the terminal. And you probably won't ever need to use this, but I just wanted to show you that it is there. And it's more for me, it's more for debugging. Say I want to read the registers in the processor registers 0 through 9. 09 RR read register space. It tells me what's in those registers right now. If I wanted to read the software, the flash software version, I can do that. If I want to calculate the CRC over the flash, the Debbie CRC is good. If I want to read memory, 0 to 15, I can read memory. That's reading the RAM directly. I can write to the RAM. I can peek and poke. That sort of thing. So you probably won't need to use the terminal, but I just want to show you that it was there. Alright, so that's about it. We'll dig deeper in the next videos. Thanks.